Hi there, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter. It is Sat Chat time. It's actually take two because my cat is in here and she was like rubbing up against the tripod leg. So my camera was jiggling all over the place and oh, she's giving me a dirty look. She's over there. She's giving me a dirty look. Tally, Bob Alley. She says, why are you telling them tales? Why are you telling me, casting me in a negative light? Look at her. Isn't she cute? The little floofster. So I actually suspected that she was a culprit that knocked down my washi tape. Letterpress tray full of washi tape. I'm so glad that she wasn't hurt if she did do that. I'm glad my sewing machine didn't get knocked over or anything, because my sewing machine is on that same bench that's kind of stacked upon. So I thought, like, wow, this is crazy, and I did a little Instagram story of this whole like scene, and Lila said, oh, I saw your story, Mom. Isn't it creepy how there's like black handprints on the back of your letterpress tray? And I was like, what? And I went back and looked, and sure enough, there are black handprints on the back of that letterpress tray. And I was telling my husband, I'm like, oh my word, can you imagine? What if it's like a demon or something that pushed it over? And he goes, or it's inky hands, because it's a letterpress tray, so probably, you know, letterpresses were used with ink, so probably that's why there are black handprints on the back of it. I'm like, oh, that makes sense. I like that explanation better than there's a potential, like, basement demon here, you know, causing disarray in the room of hoard. But, so that was a little freaky. It took me a while to pick up all that, and then I realized I actually had more washi tape that wasn't, I guess I knew I had a couple other drawers of washi tape, so my goal is to get them consolidated into two of the drawers. I took one of these big like 14 by 14 crop and style cube drawers, and I filled that with a couple layers of the washi tape with trays that could come out so I could see everything. And then I was like, oh, if I can empty another one of those and have them both together. However, I like to have like with like. I don't like to have some washi tape over here and some over there. I don't like to have some watercolors here, some over there. That's why I actually moved all my watercolor palettes into my office, my filming room, and then I brought in the like Sterilite drawers that have the drawers full of washi tape. I brought those in here too because I just needed all my watercolors to be together. I'm gonna sneeze. No, I'm not. Don't steal my sneeze. I hear you. You trying to steal my sneeze? Don't steal my sneeze. Oh, crap. I can't sneeze now. Thanks, guys. Oh, and if we want to talk about blame here, so remember last week I told you, I suggested, I don't tell anybody anything, I suggested that if you're on a no-buy, don't watch the pastel pencil review that I had coming up on Monday. I warned you. I told you when it was coming up. I told you not to watch it if you're on a no-buy. And at least 5 people left comments saying, well, I broke my no-buy. I just ordered these. And so you cannot blame me. I absolve myself of guilt over that. But those were nice pencils, I have to say. Oh, I was actually, I'm not on a no-buy, but I was trying to, like, you know, see how long I could go without having to purchase any art supplies. And on the 11th, I purchased a set of watercolors in a yellow tin, cutest yellow tin, like pastel yellow. But the reason I purchased them is because I was like, they were by the Owen Company, which is like the parent company of Paul Rubens and Pretty Excellent. And I was looking at the chart, and I'm like, boy, that chart looks familiar. And so I looked at my Pretty Excellent chart, and same color number, same color name. So I'm thinking, oh my word, I think it's the same paint. So if I was just like a regular consumer, I wouldn't have bought it for that reason. But because I'm a reviewer of art supplies, I bought it because each of the tin is larger, so you'd have more room to put other things in with your paints if you wanted to, but also they were in individual half pans instead of like in one molded thin plastic like piece that the Pretty Excellent paints were in, and it had the metal clips that held the pans in place. So if you want to take that out and put magnets on the bottom or poster putty, you could fit a lot more in that case. So I'm looking forward to that arriving. I think it's coming on Monday. But I think what I'm going to do is actually play around with my Pretty Excellent paints, do a few paintings, and then recreate them with the new paints and see if they are identical or not, and see if they perform as well. I'm betting that they will, but I'm obviously going to do that and double check and make sure. I will link that palette that I'm telling you about in the video description, so you can check it out if you want. I don't know, it's brand new. I haven't seen it on Amazon. I don't know how I came across it. I think I was looking for something else. What was I looking for? Oh, I think I was looking for a single tube of a particular ultramarine blue paint. I was just wondering if they had it there and what their price was versus an art supply store. And it's generally if you're buying a single tube of anything or a single like item art supply, it's much more expensive on Amazon than it is at an art supply store. But if you don't have like enough of an order to put in an order at an art supply store, then you know you pay more for shipping. But anyway, I was just comparing to see, and that came up, and I was like, wow, that looks really good, and it's brand new. I think when I ordered mine, it said like, you know, 17 more in stock or something like that. So I'll link it down below if you're curious, if you love the Pretty Excellent paints and you want to try them too. But I haven't used them. I want to tell you that. I will do a review once I get them. So so you know, probably a good idea to wait if you're interested and you want to see how they are first. But I'm kind of interested in that. And plus I don't have any yellow palettes, so I know I'm awful, but but it's a $20 little purchase to spark joy. I know, I'm a bad influence. Oh my goodness, I've had a very, very productive week. I've got 4 of the cat's purring. She's right over there. She's purring. I've got 4 of the projects out of the project has now grown to 16 lesson plans they're doing for Derwent. And oh, my nose is running. Anyway, so I got 4 of those done. I still need to, my hair is acting kind of crazy today. I still need to edit one of them, but it's all filmed and photographed. And then just 12 more to go. The original plan was 12 lesson plans, but it kind of got a little bit bigger as we started talking about different options, and that's how that goes. But that's fine because I like to be busy, especially this time of year. For whatever reason, it's like from Christmas till, I swear, like tax day, I am kind of like, I've kind of got like the winter gloomy doomies, you know, just kind of having this like kind of overarching feeling of dread, feeling of doom, and I find the best way to combat that is just to stay really busy so it can pass. And also not procrastinating, because I don't like to have things hanging over me, so I'm going to finish up my the forms I have to file for taxes this weekend, and then I'll have my taxes prepared like February, usually sometime in February, once all my 1099s are in and everything. And I like to get it out of the way because it just feels like such a weight, and I don't know, I'm always afraid that I will forget something or I will make a mistake, and like this is the one area of your life you have to be perfect in, is like preparing your taxes. And I'm not a very perfect person. I'm not a very precise person, so like that's something I struggle with and get anxious with, and I always like have to have somebody look over my work and make sure it's right. But yeah, I'm definitely not about precision and perfection. So that is definitely a struggle, and something that I will give me a little anxiety. I noticed I have this, have you ever heard of Maslow's hierarchy of needs? I have like Lindsay's hierarchy of anxiety, and like as soon as you figure something out and it's not making you anxious anymore, then something else bubbles up to take its place. And so earlier in the month it was wisdom teeth, because I have 3 teenagers, and you know, so do they need to be pulled? Do we need to go in? You know, just kind of like, okay, who do I go to? So so that was like making me really anxious. And then, you know, you figure, okay, that's a doctor to go to. Everyone recommends them. You get a referral, all of that. You figure out what it's going to cost, or you get a ballpark idea and stuff like that. And then that kind of like settles down a little bit. And then, you know, all the college applications are coming in. All of that it's like, oh, that's making me anxious. And it's like, you know, you kind of sit with that for a while, and you know, I always have to like the only way out of anxiety is through. It's like you have to kind of like stare down the beast, and you need to go in and just kind of like confront it, and like that's how you can kind of deal with anxiety. I don't know, it's probably not the right way. I don't know, I'm not in therapy, I have no idea. But but you know, as soon as I like quell one of the things making me anxious, something else just pops up to take its place, which is just so sad. And it's always this time of year. This time of year is the hardest. I don't know if you guys struggle with that as well, but I think it's just the long, cold, dark days in winter. It's probably better that I'm like outside at least an hour a day with a dog, but I don't know, it hasn't been sunny in a few days. It's just been very gloomy and overcast and cold. It's gonna be like -5 tomorrow, I think, so ugh. Oh, and I have to move all my stuff. Did I mention this? I have to move all my stuff out of the little shop I sell in downtown Accents. They're going out of business this month. They're going out, I think, the 20th or 22nd or something. So in the next couple of days I have to get downtown with a truck to pick up my displays and all my cards. And then yeah, I guess I'll probably sort through all my cards because I have an armoire in the office on the other side of the, I can spin this camera around and show you. So on the other side of the office, that black, that big black like cabinet over there, that I have all of my greeting cards and a bunch of, I have a bunch of paintings in there, like packaging stuff and tripods and equipment, all kinds of like stuff in there. But so I'll probably just organize all my cards, weed through, and see what I have. Maybe do a craft fair at some point. I don't like to sell online because it's just too much to keep track of. It's like to have so many one-of-a-kind things. It just would take forever to list it all online, and then keeping track of like profit and all of that. That's just too much. If you have it in a store, they just give you like a statement at the end of the month of like what you sold. I liked renting my own booth, except there were some months where I didn't make anything because, you know, the rent would exceed what I would sell. And then there were other months where I'd make a little bit of money. When you could sign, the nice thing is you're just like, if it sells, they get a cut, you know, and it's if you have small value items like greeting cards, it's just more economical that way than paying for a whole booth. Although you can put bigger things in there, like artwork and paintings and jewelry and things like that in there, which would, you know, sell for higher amounts. But I don't know, I might do that again. I mean, even if you break even or just do a little bit better than breaking even, it's not, you know, cluttering up your house. I don't know. But it is, you know, it is more work. It's not as much work as like listing it online, but it's still work. It's still work, and you gotta prioritize. That's one thing I've realized the last couple months with Jason back at the station. It's like, yeah, definitely gotta prioritize what you're doing. I've had like one podcast out since he started back up at the station. But, you know, hey, I'm doing my best. So, Frugal Friday, my second one posted yesterday, and that has been a really good feature. The first one had like, I don't know, almost 40,000 views in like a week. That's crazy. That's like super crazy high for my channel. So I'm very uplifted about that, and it's definitely made me want to make a lot more of those videos. So that's encouraging. That's really encouraging. And it was also funny, the pastel pencil review that did really well. And yeah, even my like the four things that I didn't want that ended up being the most useful things in my studio. That was another fun video. I loved getting you guys' suggestions about what your most useful tools were, because mine, that video wasn't necessarily my most useful tools. It was the 4 tools that I got as gifts that I didn't think I would ever use, and then I ended up using them a lot. Because a lot of people were talking about paper trimmers, and I should have brought my paper trimmer in here. I keep it in the room of forward because that's where I cut down all my cardstocks and watercolor papers and things like that. And then I go and I get all my supplies. I kind of go shop in there for all the things I need for a project, and then I bring it in here. So I chop down my paper and I score any card bases. I do all that stuff in there, but it's a big like 12 by 12 school X-Acto guillotine cutter, and I bought it at Staples like in the mid-90s, and it is still going strong. I have to add a 1/16 of an inch to the size before I cut something. Like, I just have to mentally add a 1/16 of an inch and scooch my paper over a little bit, because like the measurements are just a touch off, and it drives some people crazy. I'm like, I wrote on it with a Sharpie, add 1/16 of an inch. I mean, other than that, it works awesome. And I don't, you know, it doesn't go dull. I can cut multiple sheets at a time. It's just, I like it. It works really well for me. But, so that would probably be like my most used of all time product that I have, that I own, because it gets used every day. I'm always chopping something in that. I've even chopped mat board and magnet sheets and all kinds of crazy stuff on there. Oh, I have a list. I should see what I planned on talking about today and see if I've actually done any of those things. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I think I've actually touched on most of these things. So the kids have been remote all week, which does present certain challenges when filming, because if they're upstairs, we're not going to live stream because they're on Zoom. They're taking their classes on Zoom. It was funny because we got an email on like last Sunday, saying that despite the surge of COVID cases in the area, we have no plans to go remote school because the kids are masked, and CDC says that's a good plan, and we haven't had any big outbreaks. And then like the next day, no, did they go to school Monday? I think they went to school Monday, and then there was an email put out Monday morning saying, actually, my hair is just weird today. Actually, we are going to go remote for this week, and then we've got a long weekend, and then that will hopefully eliminate people getting COVID prior to midterms, because they have midterms next week. So, so they've been home doing their classes on Zoom, and of course when they're home, they're going to throw in a load of laundry and, you know, shower at different times depending on how their days go. So at any given time, it could be recording, and then the water pump goes off, or then the hearing the washing machine, or, you know, and not everything I can hear gets picked up by the camera, but still, it's like if you're recording things that, you know, need the audio to be good, it's it can be a little frustrating. But that said, I've had a very productive week, and I don't know about you, but do you ever like have like really productive days, and then the next day you're like, okay, I'm gonna get another really productive day, and then like you just can't make anything happen? I was kind of feeling like that today, because I was like just sitting upstairs at the computer, and I got through my email, and then before I knew it, I was just like scrolling mindlessly on Facebook. It's like, what am I doing? I need to go film Snapchat. So I gotta put my makeup on and came down here. I have a list of things that I want to film today. I can't remember them, but so it's a good thing I keep a list. Like if I come up with an idea for something that like I think would be a cool idea to film, or if it's something like I'm just going to talk to camera or whatever, I'll put it in a list on my phone. And that has been a lifesaver, because I forget these wonderful ideas. My brilliant ideas. Imagine if Albert Einstein had a smartphone, you know, he could be jotting down those ideas. He probably had a pad of paper. But yeah, so very productive. I wanted to mention this. Isn't this, I don't know if you think this is cool, but I think this is really cool. This is, it started off just as a blob of paint. I had been super productive. I'd gotten 3 projects. I was on my 4th project. And I was finishing up for the day, and it's like, oh, I want to just put this blob of paint on a scrap of paper. I had a scrap of paper just sitting on my table that I hadn't used for a project, and I grabbed a few out. And I'm gonna put my plastic wrap in it and weight it down and see how it looks in the morning, and turn it into a flower. Whatever it looks like, I'm just gonna turn it into a flower. And I thought it probably looked like a poppy or like a beach rose or something. And when I looked at it, I'm like, oh, that kind of looks like a lily, but a lily wouldn't have that saran wrappy, like crepey texture. But I'm like, but I'm really gonna go with what it looks like. And so I just kept playing and playing and playing, and I really needed that kind of like creative vomit to happen, you know, where you just let it out, you know, you just don't have any idea about how it's going to look. You just start playing, and you just keep on going and do what intuitively feels right, and have no expectations, and that's what resulted. And this isn't even really nice paper. It's like 90-pound watercolor paper. It's not my favorite, but I had a few scraps of it, and I had it lying around. I was using it for stuff, and it's like, I really like how that came out. And I had this thing drenched, and it is like flat as a board. It's crazy. But anyway, I had a lot of fun with that. I'll have a video on that. I'm actually, and for some reason, I decided I would record it and, you know, talk through it live while I was doing it to camera. And so I have all this footage, and I'm like, that's going to make a really fun Critique Club project. So I'll have a time lapse on YouTube next week, and a Critique Club project up in Critique Club next week. That'll be the 2nd January project. But there's just a lot of fun techniques, and I just really had a ball doing it. And it's one of those nice ones where we kind of start in the same place, but then, you know, you're going to jump off this way, you're going to jump off that way. You might use different colors, you might use different stencil, you might use a found object for a stamp or a stencil. And I just think that's kind of fun to have projects like that. But it was definitely fun to create it. I had such a great time doing that. I don't have that edited yet, but that's on the list. But that was fun. That was like creative play, and I actually got something like productive out of the creative play, which was really nice. That doesn't always happen. Sometimes you sit down to be productive on purpose, and it's like nothing happens. So, you know, never, when you don't expect it to have something cool happen like that, that's just gravy, man. That's just gravy. It's I'm trying to think what other videos went up this week, because I'm kind of in that time warp where I recorded stuff ahead of time, and then I forget what actually has been posting. But I think that's it. You know what I've been really enjoying lately? I watched, everyone's posting their like craft room tours, their like brand new beginning of the year craft room tours, and I love to see the ones that are like people that aren't necessarily YouTubers. They just decide that, oh, what the heck, I'm gonna do a craft room tour, and it's, and I'm so, this is probably really annoying you guys, but I think it's really fun to kind of see like, oh, people that have made craft rooms out of their closets, people that have made like art studios in a shed or in a hallway or in a guest room. And so I've been really enjoying just kind of seeing the creative way people are storing things and stuff like that. I always love the beginning of the year craft room tours because it gives you kind of that inspiration to organize and to declutter and to spruce things up. And I really am feeling like I'm in need of, I don't know, not necessarily a deep clean, because I do clean up in here after each project, but, you know, I just kind of see, oh, is there a way that I could optimize things and make them a little smoother or store things differently that will make me use certain products more and stuff like that. Oh, I also finished watching the series Dexter on Showtime, the new one, New Blood, and I'm not gonna say how it ends. I'm not gonna give away any spoilers in case you guys are watching it. But the thing that I keep coming back to, and it keeps like the big mystery that keeps me up at night, that keeps like playing over my mind, is how can he live in a little lake town in New England and work at a little mom and pop shop and make enough money that he has this humongous piece of property on the lake. I grew up in a lake town, and my parents have a business in a lake town, and the people that live around the lake, first of all, they're all like packed in like sardines around there. They're all rich people from far away, for the most part. Or the people that own businesses like, you know, cabin rentals and like ice cream parlors or something. It's like, you know, I'm not concerned with how he's getting away with all the serial killings or anything. I'm just like, how did he afford that piece of property on the salary of working in a little shop in a small town? You know, that just doesn't make sense. I can totally believe the whole serial killer storyline, but I just can't. That's the one thing I can't believe that. I'm stuck on that, and I can't see how that is just so unrealistic. That's so unrealistic. I totally buy the serial killings, but that part, unrealistic. Oh man, I don't know. It's crazy. So I'm trying to think if there's anything. I'm looking around. Oh my gosh, guys. Look at this little floof star. Look at her. She's just having the time of her life. She's just not a care in the world. Having a little nappy nap. Just hanging out with her madre. Her madre. She's like, yeah, this is on my desk. Yes, that's my cat hair that's in your watercolors. Yeah, if you ever buy anything from me, if you ever buy a painting from me, there's no extra charge for the cat fur. It's free. Free gift with purchase. Oh my goodness. So, you know, I don't really have any big plan this weekend, other than, you know, hopefully getting my tax stuff filed. Actually, I probably can't file that till Monday because I need to go in and get it certified. Last year, oh my word, I was in such a state. So talk about the, you know, the winter glooms. I had ordered my forms because you have to get these forms that are printed. They have a special ink on them, so when you fill them out and you mail them back, that they can be read by the machines that they have. And I thought I ordered a couple copies, so in case I made a mistake, I would have an extra. And I didn't have an extra copy, and I made a mistake, and I came unglued. I was like, probably the closest I'd ever been to having a nervous breakdown. I was unglued. I'm like, I don't know where I can get another one of these forms, because you used to be able to go to the post office and they'd have all those forms for you. I was just like, I was in such a state. I was just so, like, talk about anxiety. I was so freaked out. And luckily, like, when I finally calmed down enough, because, like, I was, like, knocking on doors of, like, and it was, like, the height of COVID, right? There was no vaccines out or anything. Nobody was answering their doors. You had to have appointments to go anywhere. And finally, I came to my senses, and I realized, like, a fellow mom that had a kid in Scouts with my son was an accountant. And she had plenty of the forms, and because like you just can't print them off online, you have to have these special ink forms, and she's like, oh, no problem, I got extra. I was just like I had worked myself up into a lather over nothing. I was just like, I didn't know what I thought was going to happen to me if I didn't have this form to fill out, but I was just like so freaked out and so just like hysterical. that's the only word I could like really think to describe my my being. I was just like unreasonably like worried and worked up and whatnot. So I'm definitely feeling a lot calmer than I was last year at this time, knock on wood. But hopefully things get a little bit better around here. The COVID cases have been crazy. The girls have friends whose families are fully vaccinated and boosted that have COVID, and I mean, they're not like in the hospital, luckily, but still, it's still like, man, this is nasty. And it's like, I don't want to leave my house, but I need to do groceries. I need to do groceries. My husband and I take turns. Honestly, he does more groceries than I do, but I tend to do a more robust, full grocery trip when I go, because it's like I don't really go with a list. I kind of think I like to have variety. I like to be inspired. When I go to the grocery store, I like to look at the vegetables and buy what looks good, not just buy something because it's on a list. And yeah, and my husband is more like, go by the list, get the same things each time. He'll get anything as long as you put it on the list. But me, it's like I need to go and see what there is before I know what I want to buy, because, you know, you don't want to have the same thing all the time. And I feel like I cook the same thing over and over again. It's really quite boring. So I need to go to see what's out there. What new innovations in vegetables have been made since the last time I went to the grocery store? What new things have they genetically modified? Oh, did you hear there's a new tree frog? I saw an article. It's a new species. They think it's maybe only been around for like the last 10 years or so. It's some like rainforest rain frog. It's named after Greta Thunberg, actually. The person that discovered the frog named it after her. And I think that's just marvelous that there's a new animal, because it seems like we're losing them all the time. That there's a new one. That's good, I think, as long as it hasn't been like made in result of our awful, you know, ways. But that's a little nice, happy little like up point to leave the Sat Chat with. Oh, and just another reminder, the sale on my Critique Club archives is going on to the end of the month. The coupon code is launch50 for 50% off any of the Critique Club archive courses. I'll have links in the video description if you want to check that out. I don't know if anyone's still watching or not. Probably waiting for me to sing something, but I don't have any, I don't have a song in my heart today. I'm sorry, friends. I do not have a song in my heart. At least nothing's springing to mind. But with that, I hope you have a wonderful weekend. I'd love to know what you're up to this weekend in the comments below. It's going to be like 5 degrees as a high on Saturday, so I'll probably be home on the couch scrolling on my phone. So I will see you in the chat. Thanks for watching. Until next time, happy crafting. Bye!